Uncover the wisdom of the feminine through soulful conversations on spirituality, healing, relationships, self-leadership, sovereignty, and so much more. I'm your host, Tamar, feminine embodiment facilitator, feminine arts mentor, and soul tantrika. In this podcast, my goal is to take you deeper into the world of the feminine, stepping more into your feminine pleasure, power, authentic truth, and your sovereignty. Welcome to the Feminine Codes podcast. Welcome back to the Feminine Codes podcast, and today I'm with Arlene Cohen Miller, who is a work-life harmony and leadership coach for women, a professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation, and a transformational mentor for both men and women. Arlene is also a V-rated Colorado attorney, wow, a certified meditation facilitator, and has a diploma in transformational holistic counseling from Australia. Can't wait to dive into that. Today, we have a conversation on work-life harmony and leadership and how to compassionately and wholeheartedly lead yourself and create the life that works for you and feels right for you. So Arlene, thank you so much for joining me today.
Great. Well, I'll do my best in the time that we have.
I know it's a really big topic, but an important one because we all want to live a life that feels really right for us, that feels good.
We do.
And aligned. How did you get into this work?
A circuitous journey. I decided that I wanted to become an attorney when I was 15. So I did go to undergrad and law school, and I was attorney for a little bit over 30 years. I had a solo practice in a suburb of Cleveland, and I was a partner in a small kind of boutique law firm in Longmont, Colorado, which is about 40 minutes northwest, I think, northwest of Denver. And while I was there, I've had some really, really amazing women in my life. One of them started a coaching school because she went and got her certification, but she just felt there wasn't enough heart in it. There wasn't enough kind of that, I don't know, internal mojo, whatever it is that we have that we bring to life. And so she started her own school, wrote everything up, and kept on saying, Arlene, I think you could really use this. I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to learn anything. So I went and got the diploma from coaching and mentoring with her, with the Global Coaching Academy. And now I do coaching and mentoring with the coaching and tutoring and assessing with the students that go through the school. And I also had a friend that went through and became a counselor, and same thing happened with her, and she started her own, holistic counseling school, and I got a diploma with that. And then I had a longtime friend who actually was from Australia, came over from the US, went to university here, and was doing really deep meditation stuff and traveling around the country with a whole group helping people. And I took a certification course for meditation with her, all because I just knew that as in law school and in college, no one taught me how to listen. Mm-hmm. And I was negotiating settlements. I was marketing for the law firm, and I had a teenage son on top of it. So I was like, I really know how to be a better listener, and all the skills that come with coaching and counseling. So I got that, and then I just realized, I loved what I did, but it never leaves you when you're an attorney. It's always there. You can't go on vacation. You can't go on a trip without you having it there. So I just wanted to do what I loved at that point, which was the coaching and mentoring. I left it. I started Joel Consultancy, and the rest is sort of history.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a lifelong learner, and I love that. It's just, I think there's always so much to say about learning and continuing to expand our mind and expand our capacity to hold everything and create. What does it mean when you say work-life harmony and leadership skills? Can you give a definition of that so that
I'll try. I don't know if I can use specific words that you can quote me on every time, but at first I started off saying, well, I'm a work-life balance coach, but I just really, it never resonated right with me because that's what everyone knew, that's what everyone used. But balance to me is like the scales of justice, and they're never perfectly balanced. And there's no such thing as perfection or ever reaching a state of balance because our lives are always changing, new challenges are always happening. And so we really have to be flexible and adaptable if we're going to make it in the world. And I thought, God, wouldn't it be beautiful just to have more harmony in your life? And that just really resonated with me. And a lot of my friends, I sort of bounced it off of them. I have a lot of women in different professional circles. And I said, how do you feel about this? And like, oh, I like that. So, and I also really love the fact that, I've been in a lot of leadership positions. While I was an attorney, I went through almost all the leadership positions in the Commercial Law League of America, except for being the president, which meant I had to go through board of governor meetings and I just could not sit through administrative stuff. It was just like, oh my God, pull out all my teeth because it's a totally different kind of person that I was. So I've just been in a lot of, leadership positions. And I really think that we, as women and everyone really have a lot of gifts that we can bring to each other of how to best lead ourselves and lead others. And so I bring the best I can to that. And I'm always open to what other people have to share there as well. I think we really all can learn from each other how to best lead ourselves and to lead others.
So true. And I think leadership is such an important topic. And I feel like we're changing what it means to lead now. We're changing the redefining, reframing what leadership is. And I see that you touch on leadership through the heart and what it means to really, how I took it was like leading from the heart. And I know that the way that you put it was negotiating from the heart. And what does it mean? And how to use that in a compassionate way? And I feel like that's really where we're going with this and this new reframe of leadership in general, and especially when it comes to women. But I think that men are also reframing what leadership looks like. And I think this is what's needed in the world. Can you touch on that? What does negotiating from the heart mean? And what are maybe two or three keys to being a compassionate negotiator or leader?
Yeah. So negotiating is just a form of communication, but we're always negotiating about stuff all the time. And when I
It's
when I
true.
talk about negotiating from the heart, it's really about I'm not negating what men bring to negotiations, but they were a lot of people were just taught that it's like playing football and slamming through everyone and getting through the goal line in order to win. And I feel that having that strong, bold, courageous strength is great, but having that way of being is not helpful to most negotiations. And to bring the heart into it as well, to bring what the feminine brings, which is more of nurturing and relationships and that supportive stuff. I really, hopefully one day I hope to help them meld together, but I really want to work with women first. And so when we're negotiating from the heart, we're not all scattered all over the place. We really have to work with ourselves because when I feel scattered, it's like my physical body's here and my emotional body's here, and who knows where my mind is. We have to really sort of pull ourselves all together and be grounded and fully present. And so when we're in that space, and what I like to do is I like to say, okay, everything that's bothering me, any reactions I have, it's going on the shelf over there. When I'm done negotiating, I can bring those back and I can work through them. So I'm sort of parking things that aren't going to have me be that compassionate, kind space. And I'm using that space to work with other people. And so, what we have to do if we want to be in that negotiating from the heart space is first of all, we have to learn how to fill ourselves up with self care and self love. It doesn't have to be really woo woo. Some of my female friends like to get a massage or get a mani pedi. I like to be out in nature. I find nature very, very healing. I feel very blessed to live in Colorado. I was just up to Netherlands hiking with a group of mostly women friends in the legal profession this past Friday. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in my jam. So it's just
It's
so
my favorite
healing.
too.
But whatever it is that sort of floats your boat, that,
Mhm.
helps you to just let stuff go and be in your heart, it's important to do that. It's whether it's breath work, whether it's doing something, we have to find ways to engage in that self-care. And as women, lots of the message everywhere is it's changing is that we need to give and give and give and give and give and give and not give back to ourselves because that's selfish. Well, how can we give to others if our cup is dry?
Exactly.
And then we go into that cycle of like being really angry and frustrated and taking it out on someone else and feeling guilty for it and then starting that cycle again. So we have to find ways to fill ourselves up with love. It's not selfish. It's what enables us to be able to negotiate or communicate from the heart.
It's something that is really needs to be spoken about more. We need to find ways to fill our own cup.
We need to find ways to take care of myself. A lot of my women friends who are attorneys, like they started off in the public defender's office going to trial all the time. They have kids
Mm-hmm.
and they like
Yes.
went they switched over in the public defender's office just to work at the appellate level, which means they're just writing briefs, which frees up a lot more time, is a lot less stress for them. One of my friends became a judge, good on her, and it gives her a lot of free time. She has blocks of time she has to do stuff, but she can still do a lot of things that she wants to for her young son. And so, it's not just filling ourselves up with love, it's also finding ways to care for ourselves. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be superwoman and do it everything for everybody. I was self-employed, so I could set my own hours and stuff, but there's ways to handle it. And the way that we can begin to feel in our hearts, sounds a little
Mm-hmm.
woo woo, but it does work for me, is like I pretend that I'm a tree. It's like there's this column of light from my high heart or my heart chakra. It floods down my body, down my legs, out my feet as roots of light, and it anchors into the heart of the planet. So my heart is one with the heart of the planet. And I allow the planet to nurture and love me, and I send my gratitude for her. I mean, I'm here because
Mm-hmm.
I can be embodied on this beautiful planet. And we can use that to bring in gratitude. And we can use that self care that we give to ourselves and the people that we love to bring in gratitude. Because gratitudes are like a really high vibrational sacred
Yes.
quality. And when we truly feel grateful for anything, we're going to feel different. It's going to expand our energy out, and we're a lot more able to negotiate from the heart and handle whatever is on our plate.
And you answered a question that I had, like, what is a practice? And so you just, yes, nature is also that for me. And it's a way to, it's just replenishing our energy in connection to nature that recalibrates our nervous system. And anytime that I feel depleted, that is where I go. And I will run to the forest because it's the earth and the nature that really fills me up. And I know not everyone is like that. You know, not everyone feels like maybe it's the massage, as you said, or manicure, pedicure, or facial, or just find time with friends. But there's something there that
Yeah.
we can all do. And so, nature for you is it a daily practice for you to?
Yeah, I get out a little bit every day, even if I'm really, really busy. It's like I used to like override myself. It's like I
Mhm.
would get something done, really do a great job, and then I was like, okay, I need a break. The human bit is going, you need to take a break now, Arlene. I was like, maybe, and I start on something, and then I get burnt out.
Yeah.
So I listen to my body a lot more clearly now because
Mhm.
I know that if I take a break, even just a walk around the neighborhood, which has beautiful gardens and whatever, I'm going to feel better. And I'm going to be more able to do what needs to be done without just sitting all day in front of my computer and working. And I think that's really important for us to say, I need a break. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be an hour, just something to go,
And whenever you find, like, is that how you recharge your batteries? Whenever you find that you are getting overly stressed, like in an instant, like if you're working, you're dealing with like a little bit of overwhelm, a little bit of stress, that you haven't had a moment to just step away. What is a way that you can quickly and easily just replenish yourself in that moment, or that you
well, there's
guide
two
your
things I would
clients to do?
recommend.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there's two things I've got. One thing is, well, first of all, I have a daily yoga practice, and I
Mm.
love my yoga community. So it gives me that. It's mostly women, and men are welcome. For some reason, they don't, because it's a kind of a fitness yoga too, so you're building up your muscle strength and not just your whatever. So I love it, and so that's something I give to myself every day. Or sometimes I do walk or hike and stuff like that if I have the time. So if there's something that really helps to recharge your batteries, especially if you need that physical outlet like I do, I'm a little bit of a hyper person, make time for that. It's because I find that, especially if I go do it in the middle of the day, which I can, and a lot of my working friends do that too. I find like I have a whole day of work beforehand, go to do yoga, and then I'm just totally refreshed to be able to have another big chunk of time where I'm not burnt out. If you can't do that, or that's not your jam, what I would suggest is breath work, because that can take you from fight or flight to rest or relax mode very simply. You probably know about that too, and
Hmm.
probably have some breath work practices. Very simple way is just breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your nose, and having your out breath longer than your in breath. Maybe closing your eyes, maybe putting on some music that just fills your heart, and then just practicing, breathing in, breathing out until you really begin to feel yourself calm down. And you need to tell the kids within yourselves that are kicking and screaming that it's okay. They don't have to do this. You are. And we're going to do something later on that they enjoy. And that it's not going to be all work, 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 work. So that's one really simple way to do it, because we all do have teenagers and kids inside of ourselves that got stuck in time, or we rejected their behavior. I don't know what I'm talking about from personal experience at all, of course. And as a joke, that we can love and work with, and that helps to fill ourselves up with love. That can help ease that stress and tension, and also make us just a better person to be around other people, because we're not feeling all that stuff inside of ourselves is not working together.
Hmm. Yeah. And there are definitely times that I can feel that inner child wanting to kick and scream and not wanting to get on the mat or not wanting to do the breath work and just be like, "Do I really have to do that today?" So I can relate to that. And then you do it and you feel so much better. It's just one of those things. Do you work with your clients around having those conversations with their inner child, their inner teenager?
It really depends. If I'm mentoring somebody, there's a difference between coaching and mentoring. Mentoring is you're standing on the shoulders and the wisdom that I have, and I share that with you, and I might give you things to do, and we'll practice that, and then you can go home and practice. If I'm coaching you, I'm partnering with you. So you bring your goals, your aspirations, and dreams to me, and then we work with that. um, and I might share a reflection or something that brings up where they can feel into, well, I really need to take better care of myself. I really need to find a way to be calm and chill with my teenage daughters so I don't keep on losing my stuff with them. So it can come up, but it's in a different way where, I might share what I'm noticing and let them do with it what they will. Because coaching like is a different mindset and a different way of doing things. It's kind of like two sides of the same jewel.
Yes. And so mainly you're working with women. Do you, because women feel a lot of guilt, they can feel selfish. And I'm going to go back to this a little bit because I think it's such an important topic for women because they're doing so much. And if they take time for themselves, then they can feel guilty. They can feel selfish if they make choices for themselves, especially if they have a family, they have children. What do you say to them when they come across these feelings of guilt and selfishness for taking that time for themselves?
Well, you can't give from an empty cup, number one. So if you're
Yeah.
giving, 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 your cup is going to get empty, which means you're going to have nothing to give to the people that you love. So it's important to find ways to fill that up. And it doesn't have to be a really long time. Maybe your partner gets home and you go for a power walk for 15 minutes, just something. Or you like to soak in a hot bath with, I don't know, lavender oil or something like that. But it's important to give that to yourself, or your well is going to run dry and you're going to be behaving the opposite of what you want to do with the people that you love most. And I see women, there's this, I loved it. I was driving to work this spring, and this mother, while school was on, she had one kid riding a bike in front of her, one behind her. She had two small babies in the carriage, and she was pushing it and running it. She was taking the two older ones to school. I'm like, girl, you found a
Wow.
way to pull it all together. So she would run there, and they would bike next to her. Because biking's a lot easier than running. And then she would turn around and take the younger ones home. So if there's a will, there's a way. Maybe there's a trampoline in your backyard that everyone can do it together and you can get some exercise. There can be ways. I mean, in Colorado, people put the kids on their backs and go for a hike. But if that's not what works for you, there are ways that you can make that time. Because if you don't take care of yourself, Where are you going to be when you're older and your kids are older and they're having grandkids like mine? So it's not selfish. There's no reason to be guilty. It's just something that we've taken on from like the collective psyche of humanity. And all we have to do is say, I know this is a part of the collective psyche of humanity, but it doesn't really work. It's a lie. It's not really true. And I'm going to choose a choice that's more compassionate and kind to myself, which is going to allow me to be more compassionate and kind with others.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's an important thing for us women to remember, and also that we don't have to do it all by ourselves. We don't. I think that's something that we miss because I've done a lot of traveling and living overseas, and I've noticed in certain cultures they have closer knit families still, whereas we don't as much anymore. And we, as especially whenever we think about becoming a mother, or we do become a mother, and we're not around family anymore. We don't have support and that way. And then I think that's oftentimes when we feel even more like we have to do everything, that everything is just piled on top of us. And so I think those are really what your suggestions are so perfectly needed, because there are a lot of women, especially here in the US, that don't have a lot of family around that can use that support.
Yeah. Yeah, my family was 6 hours away by driving and like an hour and a half by plane when my son was born. And I just had started my own law practice. I'm like, holy cow, what am I going to do now? But I was married at the time, so I had a roof over my head and food on the
Right.
table, but it was still really stressful. And but there is a way to sort of gather a tribe around us if we have the money to hire a babysitter or nanny like I did, and not always. Was never a fancy cook. I tried to get healthy stuff, but I mean, something had to go, and I did the best that I could with what I had. And my son was not pleased with me for a lot of years until he had his own son. And now he realizes what it's like to raise a child. And, he has his own business too. And most of it's from the house. But still, it's a lot of work. And you just do the best you can. And now he has a little bit more appreciation and respect for what I went through. But from a young age, I wasn't, even though I could feel all that guilt and I was impacted by it, I just chose I can't do that way and survive.
Mm-hmm. What were some steps back then that helped you kind of get through that as a mother?
Well, I did take there was just these little like propeller hopper chains, planes from Cleveland where I lived to Louisville, Kentucky, where both of our families were, and I was on those at least once a month to take my son home to the grandparents, which were both, it was the first grandchild to see their grandson. And so I did that and then, let them play with him and stuff like that and got a little bit of a break. I joined an athletic center that had a really good child care, and I ended up running with some other women that had young kids. And we chat and talk, and the kids would play, and then we come back and pick them up. I searched around and interviewed a lot of different child care people, and some of them were, oh my God, they were horrible the way they were going to treat kids. But I found a really, really lovely one who had a bunch of kids in her home and really loved kids. I mean, she needed the money for sure, but she really loved kids. And so I put my son with her. She died pretty young, and her daughter ended up being like a nanny. By then, I had some more money as an attorney. And so I feel like I just, I mean, I lucked out, but I was like putting out to the universe, please help me. I need to have a tribe here. And I also joined, they didn't have, I'm a member of the Colorado Women's Bar Association, just because I love being around amazing young attorneys. But then there was like a Women's Business Owners Association that I went to once a month, joined it when I was very pregnant. And it was just nice to talk to other women and hang out and eat dinner together. And it just felt great. So that's what I did. And back then I was a swimmer and a runner. So I still had things to, that outlet, because I'm a little bit of a wound up person. And so just to have that unwinding with physical activity that also just allowed me to release and let go. So those were a few of my secrets. I'm sure other people have other ones.
And I think, especially as a working mother, balancing both, even just as a mother, It's a lot of responsibility. I watch my sister I've got 13 nieces and nephews. So not just from my sister, not just, I'm also from the Midwest, not far from Louisville, actually, originally. But between my brothers and my sister, I have 13 nieces and nephews. And so I watch them and how they manage. And my sister, thankfully, blessed to be home with the children. But it's not really what she wanted. She wanted to work. She's a leader at heart. And it's just been beautiful to watch that unfold, but also how much support like mothers need, whether working or not. Sometimes you do have that, you have the other women at work that you can have those conversations with and support with. And she's had to build her own. She's become, gotten little groups of women together to do stuff with their kids. So, so
Yeah.
it's fascinating. I mean, I'm guessing that once the meditation started to come into your life, and as a teacher of meditation, how did that start to shift things for you? And
Oh God, I think it's so needed.
like how it supported you in everything that you were doing?
Well, I just want to say that what I learned to begin with was that many, many years ago, Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a monk, came to Boulder, Colorado, which is about 20 minutes down the road, and a friend and I went, and he brought his monks with us, and we did a walking meditation. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to sit there and go, and close my eyes and not move, because I didn't know what it was. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it was just so relaxing. We sort of walked through the hills of Boulder, Colorado, which is like in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, very picturesque. And I'm like, and we couldn't go fast because I don't know, there was thousands of people there. It was like it filled out this whole auditorium. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And this is so easy. All I have to do is walk out in nature. I don't do a power walk. I go nice and slow and breathe and appreciate my surroundings, and
Mm-hmm.
everything can change. And that was like the first thing, that was way before I got certified. And I'm like, heck, I can do that. It doesn't take any training. But and the meditation stuff really taught me that, like, no, we don't stop thinking. I just view them as little clouds going past in my mind's eye and just letting them go instead of trying to make myself stop thinking. And all those little tips that you learn when you learn how to meditate, or someone who really knows what they're doing is teaching you, is just also is like they role model just how to slow down. I really didn't know how to slow down. And so, yeah, that's what it taught me. And I'm just so grateful that I had a really cool woman friend that wasn't like, you have to do this or you have to do that. She just like kept everything super, super simple when it came to different like some body relaxation techniques where we just relax our bodies from the top of our head to the bottom of our toe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something really simple like that anybody can do, relaxing muscles and breathing and maybe listening to some music that you like. So I just found that I found the right teacher who was like, you don't have to do it like this. Here's some ideas that are very simple that could work for you. And I was just like, well, thank you for guiding me to her and having for her to be a friend in my life. It doesn't have to be complicated.
I think a lot of people get scared of meditation because they feel like they're doing it wrong. It's like I'm sitting here, my mind's supposed to be blank, and I have all these thoughts just coming and coming and coming and coming. And so I can't meditate because I can't do it right. I feel like that has stopped a lot of people from trying to meditate, is a fear of not being able to clear their mind. But that's the whole point of meditation, right? It's to be more present little by little, learning how to be more present so that you can clear your mind a little more easily. Is that right?
Well, yeah, also it's just not to, it's to stop judging myself or judging
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. It's like, okay, I have these thoughts, no biggie deal. I'm just going to visualize them as clouds passing by me. I see you, I'll deal with you later. So even if I never have a still mind, I can just feel those clouds, but I'm not judging myself for not being, quote, perfect. Because what the heck is perfect meditation? Does it even exist? It's called a practice for a reason, and practice makes permanent, so we can just keep on practicing with it and see what happens. And yeah, and maybe talk to some friends that do it or do it with them and stop being so hard on ourselves again.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I like. what I call feminine meditation, which is kind of
Okay.
like kind of like you were talking about the moving, the walking meditation in the nature, right? It's like in my mind, and I see like the sitting still and the meditating and trying to quiet the mind as a form of masculine meditation in my head.
Oh,
Like it's
okay.
great and it definitely has this purpose because you're focused on something. And for me, the feminine meditation is like a flow or a movement, and maybe you're painting and you're just letting it go, or you're walking in nature and you're observing, or you're dancing, and it's just moving energy through you, but it's a form of meditation. I guess Tai Chi or Qigong maybe would
Yeah,
be kind of
absolutely.
similar.
Oh, yeah.
It's yeah, it's a form of meditation, but a moving meditation.
And you bring up something really important. I don't love to cook. I love to eat good food and I can make some simple dishes. I have friends that love to cook and I love to write. And if I'm writing something, I just become so immersed in it. And when they cook, I
Mm,
watch them and they just pour so much love into what they're doing. That's a form of meditation.
it
That can
is.
very easily be a form of meditation, or be just being with your plants in the garden, or taking your dog for a walk. All those things can be a form of meditation. Leave your cell phone behind, get away from those EMFs, give yourself a little bit of peace, and you can engage in an activity that you love and just breathe and enjoy that activity, and that can be a form of meditation.
Yes, actually, cooking is one of my favorite ones. I love it. It's not like I don't like to just cook simple things. I like to turn on some music, pour a glass of wine, and just zone in on what I'm cooking and just let it, like, it's the joy of doing it. And that's in my, it's kind of like you're making things beautiful. It's like you're so present in the moment that there's so much love that gets poured into whatever you're doing. And that's when I like cooking.
And that's so awesome too, because if we pour love into our food when we're making it, we're really grateful for it, we're loving it, it's going to be so much healthier for us, than if we didn't. And one of my friends is a naturopath, and she was just looking, as she went through school, she's like, well, there's this wrong with this food and this wrong with that food, even certain vegetables that have a lot of oxalates. And she just came to the conclusion that no matter what kind of food she was making, she was going to love the heck out of it. And
Mm,
I think that's a really transformational thing for all of us in so many ways.
I agree. And you love to write, and you pour your love into writing.
I do pour it into my food. I just might,
You do.
just throw a steak on the grill or something, or a piece of chicken or something. I just don't, making fancy dishes and like it's like, oh my, just not my jam. But I do appreciate people that love that, and I try to have some people like that in my life.
It's always good to have people to feed. So that just loves, like, I love those people too. I'm a foodie at heart, so I love good food.
Me too.
What do you focus on writing?
It's whatever. Well, I just wrote an article for the Colorado Women's Bar Association. I went up there for the walk, and I was on a committee, and I said, I'll go. It's like it's work. And so I took a lot of pictures, and then I just wrote something up, and I was there to support the lady that was doing all the legwork. It wasn't that much, and I sent it off to her, and so I just sort of wrote it up yesterday, and while it was fresh in my mind, and sent her all the photos that I got. Another lady sent me photos, and then I'll let her put her stuff in there and to get it off to the people that are going to edit it. But on my blog, on my website, Jewel Consultancy, about any topic, I've written stuff just because I find it interesting to find out more things about things, or write about something that I'm passionate about, like we've been talking about. And some people, I mean, I'm a visual person. I like to watch videos, so I make like short videos too to put out there for people to find. But some people are readers, which really blows me away. I just got burnt out when I went to law school. It took something out of me to have to read
Imagine.
so many, so much law. I mean, I don't know. But I have friends that just love to read, and so that's what they do. So I want to make sure that I have that for people. So if they have 5 minutes and can read an article and get something out of it, it just makes my heart sing to be able to give that back to them.
Hmm. What would you say that your biggest passion is?
Right now, I mean, I think it changes with time. I think it's to be, well, first of all, just overall, it's to be my highest, clearest, brightest self and to be of service to the best I can. That really makes my heart sing when I'm doing that. It doesn't mean I don't have a personal life and do things I love. I try to blend them. It's a practice, not a perfect. What I'm really passionate right now is like negotiating from the heart stuff and sort of merging that with executive presence. You know, how to bring that, strong, bold, beautiful woman who has clear, strong boundaries with the compassion and the integrity and the values that we have when we negotiate from the heart. That really sort of is lighting me up at the moment. It's sort of ebbs and flows what's out there that goes, that's what I need to work on. That's what I need to bring out more.
Negotiating has never been my strong suit ever. And I find it really beautiful the way that you explain it because I've always wanted to be better at negotiating. I've always kind of like shied away from negotiating, but it's true. I guess when I'm connected on a heart level to what I'm negotiating about, I have a little bit more confidence and in negotiating that. Um,
Right.
how
Well, can I give
does
you a tip?
yes?
Okay, so it's if you're it's just a conversation with somebody or a group of people. So it's important to the best we can to prepare and know what we want to achieve, our goals, what theirs are. But the best negotiators are the best listeners, because
Mm,
that's what I've really grounded with me really wholeheartedly as a coach. And active listening is like being that tree in your heart, aligned to being the best that you can be in whatever it is, like a negotiator in that moment, and asking an open question, one that doesn't have a yes or no answer, and allowing the person to talk without correcting them or telling them what you're going to do or not do. You're going to learn so much about them, maybe even if they'll let you record it so you don't have to take notes, and they can as well. And then that might lead to another question out of that genuine curiosity. So it's not like a win-lose thing. It's really getting to know the other person, what's important to them, what they need, what they're looking for in whatever context we're going to have that conversation. And then from there, being curious and asking questions. And then we can always say, I really appreciate this first session we had. I really just want to go away and digest everything that you shared with me. And maybe we can have another appointment whenever it works, so you can have a moment to digest what works for me, what
mhm.
doesn't work for me, what do I want to do, what I don't want to do, so we don't put all that pressure on ourselves to get what we want, which doesn't really work either. So I hope
Yeah,
that helps for you and your readership. It's not it's a if we let go, then it's easier.
thinking about it in the way that you've described it really does help me to be able to understand the art of negotiation because it's really an art. That's how I'm
Right.
receiving it.
Yeah, and we also have clear, strong, and appropriate boundaries. This is
Mm,
my bottom line. This is I will not tolerate this kind of behavior. And also, I've sort of developed and learned the ability that sometimes people, when they get upset or things are, whatever is going on, when we come to talk to them, they might project at us. They might say some really crappy things at us. And if we don't react, we just either
mm,
don't say anything or we don't just respond, and we don't let it get to us. It's just like, that's their stuff. It's not my stuff. They're upset. I can just hold space for them as long as they're not being
mhm,
abusive. There's no place for that energy to go. It's going to fall away because I'm not reacting. There's nothing for them. It's not going to go anywhere. It works with your kids too. At least it does with my adult son. And yeah, so that helps as well. I mean, there's a lot of little tips that you can do, and I do workshops and stuff like that to help people with it. I think we have these ideas in our head of the way it's supposed to be, maybe by watching some legal shows on TV or some whatever it is, some detective
mm.
shows, and that's how it is. And maybe it isn't. It used to be, but it's beginning to change, like what you were beginning to share at the beginning of our conversation.
Well, I'm actually realizing that I am pretty good at negotiating. So
Well,
thank you.
how about that?
Especially in
Yeah,
like intimate relationships, as far as like, people that I'm close to or, that is in my life. You just gave me like clarity on my negotiating abilities. Really, I feel much better about that.
tend to be better negotiators for someone else. We're more relaxed to help somebody else. But I guess the way I looked at it that really helped me when I had those leadership positions in the commercial law league is that there were different factions and they could get really ticked off with each other. It's like, grow up, you're adults. But I found a way that I could interact with, and I feel like you have this ability too. I can talk to interact with most anybody, and so I'm interacting with them, listening to what they want, interacting with other groups, listening to what they want, and doing my best. Because I put together a meeting in California for the West Coast, but the East Coast came too for like 5 years, and so I had to learn how to talk to all the different factions to make them want to come in there and work together harmoniously, and they need each other for business. So I think that when we have something that we're passionate about and we don't look at it as selling, but as maybe delivering something that we love or that we're bringing this gift to the world, doesn't mean I still don't have those feelings, but I can have a way to sort of move through them. I'm still a work in progress with some of this stuff that it's not, it does, we don't have all those huge wall blocks or roadblocks that we put up for ourselves.
Mhm. Can you maybe give a couple tips around that?
About
Not hitting the roadblocks.
Well, I think we just need to not judge ourselves if we feel ourselves, oh my God, that's hard. I don't want to do that. Okay. The first thing we can do is just go, we can acknowledge that we feel that way instead of like
Mm,
pushing that feeling away. It's just like, there's a part of me that is scared of this and really doesn't want to do this. And,
mm,
there's lots of books written on this, but for me, it just feels like if I break it down into little teeny tiny steps where I take one small step towards this whatever I'm negotiating or whatever I want to accomplish in my life that does maybe involve talking to people and communicating and working things out. I'm going to take one small step. I'm going to acknowledge that step, job well done, and even celebrate it. Take a breath and just feel into, okay, what's the next small step that I can take for this project? So we don't have to just visualize ourselves all of a sudden jumping into this big thing with all this room of people and
mm,
or whatever it is, maybe at a cocktail party where we're trying to pull it all together. One small step at a time, one maybe small phone call at a time. What do you need?
mm,
What are you looking for? How can I best serve you here? What if you not liked by prior meetings? I'm just giving an example that I was on. So
mhm.
we don't have to know everything. We just have to be curious and open to listen. And most people have never had anyone be with them who was just actively listening and not jumping in and telling them the things that they had to have right now. And that
That's true.
endears people to you, not in a selfish way, but they go, wow, it's a unique experience that, whether they know it or not, can help open their hearts or just to open a space of
Mm.
compassion or a willingness to work with us. And it's not manipulative, it's really just the kind thing to do.
Right. And as women, as you mentioned before, we have a little more of that empathy and compassion and that nurturing energy that we can bring with us to those situations. I think it's the fear of how are we going to handle those things that can stop us in our tracks. But
Yeah.
you give such clear steps to how to go into a situation that maybe we have some fear around.
And mistakes are not the end of the world where we beat ourselves up, we're so bad. They're just an opportunity to learn and grow. And the more we
Mm,
get out there and do stuff, the more mistakes we're going to make. And so I'm not saying I'm a perfect here. I'm still a work in progress, but I do practice this that, okay, what can I learn from this mistake? What has it taught me? How can I do it differently next time? And if someone asks me a question and I'm in some sort of negotiation or communication thing and I don't know the answer, people really respect you if you say, you know what, I really don't know the answer, but I'm going to look into it. I'm going to find out and I'm going to get back to you. Give me a week or whatever it is, or I have a really busy week. Just give me about 9 or 10 days. I'm perfectly happy if someone tells me like that. I don't like know-it-alls. It's like, my God, get a life. So we don't have to be perfect. And if someone is rude or obnoxious, again, if we don't let it affect us, it's probably something that's happening in their life that is really difficult and they haven't had another place to have it come out. They're probably going to come back and apologize later unless they're a
mm,
total jerk. And we just let it like water off a camel's back. It's not my stuff. It's their stuff. And I'll have boundaries where I'll allow a little bit of that in compassion for them. But yeah, I think we tell ourselves stories and we need
mm.
to notice the stories that we're telling ourselves so we can go, that is a really old story, it's not working, how can I do it a different way?
There are quite a few women that take things to heart a little because we are so compassionate. We do feel so much. So having that little bit of advice is really important. Is there a way that you, maybe if you come across a woman that something like that comes up and they're maybe at a meeting or they're at an event, maybe networking or something for business, and they run into a situation like that where someone that's there is having a bad day or throws something out at them and it really sets them off. Like it really kind of like makes them go back into their shell and want to close up and just leave. What would you suggest to someone like that? Like, is there a practice they can use in those moments to come back in?
Well, first of all, we don't have to stay in an abusive situation. If you're at a
No.
big meeting and you're at a cocktail party or something, you can just excuse yourself and go talk to some other people. Maybe you go to the restroom for a few minutes in a stall and do some breath work, or step outside for a minute and let things go and come back. Um, some people are just jerks. And I found that when I was a young attorney, the first 12 years I did divorce law, and there was a couple of attorneys in there that were just obnoxious, and they made it hard for the rest of us because the judges didn't stand up to them. I ended up leaving that and going to commercial law because it just wasn't. It was just a hard place to be. No one. It was people were at their worst, and the attorneys that were at their worst. Not everyone. There were some lovely, lovely attorneys in there. Would just make it bad for the whole pot. And sometimes you just have to have clear boundaries and walk away and know I can't change that person. Obviously, they were raised where that's okay, but it doesn't mean I have to sit around. And I actually learned that pretty young as a waitress. I was a waitress between my first and second year of law school, and I was working at this Italian restaurant. I waited on this table of like about, I don't know, 6 or 8 businessmen and nice round table. And I went to get the bill and they started all giving me grief because I don't know, I gave them one check instead of separate checks or whatever. And I just looked at them. I just walked away. And I came back at about 10 minutes later. They had all figured out how much who owes what. And they apologized to me. And I'm like, I am not standing here and taking that abuse. So sometimes you can walk away and there's a happy ending. And sometimes you can walk away and you just have to talk to other people. Some people, they there's nothing you can do with them. Maybe one day the light bulb will go off and maybe they think that that's a way that you can do things to manipulate and control people, but I feel it's less and less that people will put up with that kind of stuff. And I found that walking away in appropriate situations is the best thing we can do.
That is true, even in business, right?
Sometimes you can't leave if you're in a conference or something like that, but maybe there's a colleague or someone else that you can talk to that, that really wasn't appropriate behavior. What do
Mhm.
you think would be helpful so that that doesn't happen again? Because it's just not okay.
Yeah,
If it doesn't feel in the moment to say something, we always have to sort of use our discernment, of when to red flag something. Sometimes there's HR departments that we can talk to. I don't know every place. You just have to use your discernment. And sometimes there's just abusive crap that goes on in our life and we just have to be able to let it go. I just go, this is what my massage therapist does. I return all energy that's not of me and not of love back to its original source with love. And you got to leave now. And my massage friend goes, what's mine is mine and what is yours, because he has his hands on bodies all day. And so I just send that energy back to the person. It's not mine. I can't do anything with it. It's their stuff. And then I just do my best to feel grateful for something or find a way to fill myself with some love. Because it's not a perfect world. There are jerks out there, and we've got to find a way to manage that for ourselves while not taking their stuff on.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I did body work for years as well, so it's so important to do to have those energetic boundaries as well.
Oh, yeah.
You can walk into a place and be so open energetically. You're feeling everything, or learning how to close your energetic boundaries, actually have boundaries even in your energetic field. And that really does help. It does change a lot of things whenever you can learn how to have energetic boundaries too.
Yeah, that is one of my areas of expertise. I teach spiritual
Good.
classes every week.
Do you?
So, yeah, Yes, I do. Because it's really, I've been on this pretty intensive path for 22 years, and before that, I was trying to find my tribe. But yeah, we can, what you're talking about is that if we're really happy and open and stuff like that, we go out into the
Mhm.
world really open, but we have to set our boundaries by how the other person is, not how we are. So we just don't know. And so I'll just put a nice big golden bubble of protection around myself and flood myself with the violet flame and maybe put a nice column of light and feel really grounded into the planet. But it's really important energetically to work with what's going on, in all those other ways as well, to protect ourselves and to cleanse and clear ourselves. Because even if we do all that stuff, if we go out into the world, it's going to still impact us some, and we need to come home. And a simple thing you can do at the end of the day, or maybe if I've been out to some big market or some thing, they have all these like fairs or whatever, no, farmers markets in the summer. And sometimes I'll just come home and take like a 3 minute hot violet flame flower, which helps to transmute and transform fear into love. Because I couldn't help being out there because there's all these people. There's just tons of people. And so, yeah, we have to find ways to energetically as well take care of ourselves.
Hmm. And you do soul readings also. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I do that.
That's-
I,
do
I
you,
love it.
uh-huh.
Go ahead. What
Yeah,
do
I
you want
was
to
just saying,
ask?
do you use that in your practice?
Well, they're available for anyone. If they buy a package
Mhm.
from me, they can have mentoring, coaching, soul readings, whatever they want. And basically, it's not something psychic, but I know how to heart connect. I feel how
Mhm.
to heart connect with other people, and I use a psychic tarot oracle card deck, and I can do it through the computer. It doesn't matter. And I'll spread the cards out and they'll pick some and I'll pick some. If they have something they're interested in, the energy will go into the cards. But since it's a soul to soul reading, like it's not going to tell you if you're going to get a man or you're going to win the lottery. But if you ask those questions, the cards will usually speak to someone's heart that will give them some guidance.
Mhm.
Because quite frankly, everything is constantly changing. If someone can say that they're going to tell you your future, they're not telling the truth, because someone can do something or something can happen and everything changes. So it's better to be flexible and adaptable, but maybe just get a general flow for what I need to work on. What are my strengths? What obstacles can I walk around and how can I do it? Versus this is what's going to happen, because to me, I really have a lot of problem with people doing that because it just feels so, I don't know, disrespectful to the energies and to people to tell them that kind of stuff.
Mhm. And are they used? Because I was reading that it can help them understand what they can do to reach goals and
Right.
to also create the life that they desire in connection to the heart.
Right.
I really
Thank
love
you.
that because I think that that's really ultimately what we're trying to do, right? It's
Right.
what is our heart calling us to, and then how do we get there?
Right. And I love to take a photo of the pictures and have them record it, because that way they don't have to think while we're together. They can just be in the energies and then they can play with it maybe for the next 3 months and see what's in there, what gems of wisdom can help them, because it's really
Mhm.
not me. I'm
Yeah.
just allowing the energies to flow through me for them. I'm not any great anything. This is just, I have the ability to let that love flow through, and whatever comes out, comes out. And yeah, I just really agree with you on all that. And it's really cool that you have been a healer with hands-on healing stuff too. That's cool.
I'm always into any of those things that help me access more of where I'm going and what I'm doing and being aligned to my highest and best truth. I know that your main focus right now is negotiating from the heart, is this helping women mainly find confidence and clarity and assurance in learning how to negotiate from the heart. Is there anything more that you would like to share on that?
Well, I think you can practice now, with some of the things that I shared. I am in the process of putting out videos. I put my first one out on LinkedIn and Instagram about negotiating from the heart. And then I just did a second group of 11 today on negotiating from the heart with executive presence, because I really love I helped to facilitate an executive presence thing with attorneys earlier this year, and gosh, they're amazing, these women. And so I think if you start listening to that and find me on LinkedIn under Arlene Cohen Miller, which my name is right there, you'll start to see those videos come out, and they're going to be in my YouTube channel, which is under the same name as well. And sometime probably it's going to be next year where I'm going to put out another workshop, and that would be I'll put out videos on LinkedIn and Instagram as well about that, and it'll be on my website. I just haven't decided when. So yeah, so in other words, you don't have to remember all these tips. I'm going to be putting out a video maybe like once a week or once every 4 or 5 days. If you want to follow along, that's for free.
Wonderful. And one other question just popped up. Can you explain executive presence?
It's really what I've been talking about. I think it's just a more formal way that attorneys can put their teeth into about negotiating from the heart. Because when you're in that state of executive presence, there's, you're using all your strengths, all your wisdom, all the things that help you be aligned to love, centered in your heart, grounded into the planet. We just call it something that people can relate to. And the women attorney there, had all sorts of stories of how they work with it, and maybe when it was difficult, and when they didn't have confidence as a young attorney, or how they use it as a judge. And it's really no different than the negotiating from the heart, except it's not just negotiating. It's more the presence that you hold with everyone that you work with as an attorney. So that's why I added it to the topic and the titles, just so it would not feel so out there to people. It's really not there, but people tend to react that that's the way it's going to be. It's just another side of the same coin with maybe more just not negotiating, communicating. But anyway, there's a lot of communicating if you're holding that kind of presence.
Right. I like the wording on that. I guess it's more the visual that I can see with that word. I love that. It's powerful for a woman.
Yeah,
It's how we
yeah,
stand grounded and centered. I think that's
yeah.
super powerful. And I think a lot of women are going to be able to pick up on that. And you work with women who are not just attorneys.
I just wanted to go back in there because there was no one like this for me when I was there. And I just think that it's really hard to be a young attorney and have all this stuff on your plate. And so I just wanted to be there if I could help. And I really love interacting, and I don't care if I'm the only grandmother there. I really love being a part of this group. It's just an amazing, amazing group of women that do so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, for sharing. I've loved these tidbits and the practices and all that you've given through your experiences. And I will put all of your links in the show notes so that everyone can find you. And you have a free gift if they say that they watched the podcast. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I forget what I told you, but I'm going to share what the free gift is in this moment. And that would be like a 2 card, like mini soul reading. So you'll pick one, I'll pick one. We'll do it on the computer. You can ask a question first. It'd probably take maybe 10 minutes at the most, but hopefully you'll get something out of it. And happy to do that. Just have to mention you and your show.
Yes, and definitely if you're feeling anxious or stressed or just wanting to really tap into that executive energy as a woman, as a queen that Arlene is speaking about, reach out to Arlene, and I will see you next time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Arlene.